which I'm joined by Florence
Hi,
VILLEMINOT.
Chris.
Hello, Flo. You're starting off in Bangladesh and a grisly landmark in terms of the death toll from that factory collapse.
That's right. Reports say that the death toll has passed 1,000. And the Daily Star, a Bangladesh newspaper, says that this is actually the worst industrial accident the country has ever known. And you see that striking photo there of a woman who has just identified one of her sister's bodies. Now, yesterday was the 16th day of the rescue operation, but bodies are still starting to, continuing to emerge. What the Daily Star says is that rescuers have began a second phase of the operation using heavy equipment, and the article points out that most of the bodies that rescuers are finding now are so decomposed that it's hard to identify them unless they have some sort of identification on them or a cell phone. Often families are having a hard time proving that it's their loved ones. They actually have to recognize them according to the clothes that they were wearing the day of the accident. Now, earlier this week, there was another accident at a factory in Bangladesh, a fire that killed at least 8 people. And another newspaper, the New Nation, says that it's really time to address faulty safety measures. This latest accident is proof that time is running out. The country cannot afford to show a leniency on safety measures.
Okay, elsewhere in the international press, reaction to Hezbollah's latest threat towards Israel.
That's right. This is Al-Akbar, which talks about a speech that Hassan Nasrallah, so the leader of Hezbollah, said yesterday. And he said that, well, Hezbollah is ready to receive what he called game-changing weapons from Syria. Now, his speech came just a few days after Israel reportedly launched an attack in Syria on weapons that were destined for Hezbollah. And Nasrallah said these new weapons would serve actually as Syria's reaction to these Israeli airstrikes. And he said that actually Hezbollah would use them to open a new front on the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights. Now, Al-Quds, which is a pan-Arab newspaper based in London, wonders why did he make this announcement right now? Was it, and it says that perhaps it was to create some sort of a diversion, so to create a war within a war, if you will, to distract attention away from Bashar al-Assad. Meanwhile, L'Orient le Jour, the pro-Occidental pro-Western Lebanese newspaper, says that actually is Nasrallah, what is he being here? Is he being reckless and unconscious, or is he being actually a strategically smart man in making this threat to Israel? And L'Orient le Jour points out that maybe what he's really trying to do here is just make sure that the balance of power in the region stays the same.
Meanwhile, within Syria, the situation is desperate as ever, and the International Herald Tribune focusing on the refugee situation.
That's right. It's focusing on young people, actually, in these refugee camps. And if you take a look at the statistics, it's quite striking. In Jordan, for instance, of the 500,000 Syrians seeking shelter, 55% of them are under 18. Now, some of them have been are there with their parents. Some of them have been sent there on their own by their parents because they feared for their lives back in Syria. But whatever happens, the International Herald Tribune says that these are really the next lost generation. They've been forced to grow up. They've been forced to grow up very fast. It's a really quite a heartbreaking article where the journalists talked to these children who had really big dreams, and all those dreams have really been put on hold for now. For instance, just a couple of quotes. One young boy says, "I used to be a child, now I'm the head of the house." Another young girl said, "I just want to go to school."
Okay, to Germany next, Der Spiegel, and a cancellation of the opera.
That's right, a controversial opera that was staged in Dusseldorf. Now, this was a staging of Richard Wagner's Tannhäuser, which was, well, the director chose a very specific angle, which was to set it in during the Nazi era. Now, this was in an effort to address the fact that Wagner was actually an anti-Semite. Now, therefore, the opera had a gas chamber and a very controversial shooting scene, which, according to members of the audience, was so shocking that some of them had to get medical attention. So the theater has now canceled the production. The opera will continue, but it will only be with the orchestra without these controversial props.
Wow, finally more controversy involving Turkish Airlines.
That's right. A lot of people are calling this lipstick gate. Now, just to remind you, last week, the company's media relations department sent out a memo that was banning flight crew from wearing red cosmetics, so lipstick. And this sparked outrage on the internet. A lot of women posted photos like this, so big close-ups of their lips. And now it seems like Turkish Airlines is actually backpedaling a little bit. The company's boss has actually called the ban a mistake. He says there was no approval of this, and he said this was all to blame on low-level management.
Florence VILLEMINOT with that review of the international press. Thanks very much.